Hello, and welcome to our virtual annual discipline meeting for the 2022-2023 school year. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Dane Lamont, the School Partnership Specialist for Penn Highlands Dual Enrollment Program. As we continue to adapt to a post-pandemic environment and adjust to new educational hurdles, we are pleased that we can provide you with an opportunity to complete our NACEP required activities in a platform where you can still make a connection to your liaison. Throughout the semester, ACE Liaison scheduled live Zoom sessions to discuss specific topics related to the disciplines in which you teach. While we understand that it is not always possible for you to attend these live sessions, these sessions were recorded so you can get the benefit of the event with the discussion from those who attended. Please enjoy the recording of your annual discipline-specific activity. We hope next school year we will be able to welcome you back to our campus for an in-person event. Thank you for your continued hard work in making this program available to students.
Hello and greetings, everyone, to the annual discipline meeting. I know everyone's pressed for time during this time of year, so I'll be brief. For accreditation purposes, I am required to talk about the assessment process and some pedagogical information. Something, as a matter of fact, I'm excited to talk about tonight. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. First, I guess I want to get into the assessments and something that many of you know about. And I think to go along with the auditory presentation regarding that, let me get a screen share up here, and we've got a little visual chart here that will accompany what I'm talking about for you visual types. During an observation, those of you who are new to this, I'm required to ask for assessments. And they're basically samples of three outcomes. A sample that you deem outstanding, a sample that falls into the average quadrant, and an unsatisfactory sample. These samples can be taken from either a quiz, a test/exam, a paper, or a project. And of course, you can white out the name of the student. So just one sample of each, right? And you white out the name of the student. And we do not need those until the second week of May. The process is solely due for NACEP accreditation purposes. And if you have questions on that, always feel free to contact me regarding that. Okay, so stop the share here and talk about some pedagogical information. So in preparation for this time together, I was researching a particular topic, and it was entitled, "Is there a place for personal bias in the classroom?" And my first thoughts were probably not. I started reading the article. In fact, it was an article through the NEA, the National Education Association, entitled "Education is Political." And neutrality in the classroom shortchanges students. Okay. So I found that very interesting. And the author was Tim Walker, and he opens the article by saying that the discussion of social justice lessons should be welcome in the classroom, not dismissed. In fact, he says we must not shove these aside as just quote unquote talking politics, right? Walker mentions arguments on education. And some of the arguments that are used to stay neutral, like, well, there's no place in the classroom for these discussions. It's lack of time. We can't do it for lack of time. We got to focus on meeting state standards, via the tests. Or I do not want to gin up hostilities in the neighborhood, and certainly not with the school administration, or perhaps with a particular administrator. He then asks the question, quote, the neutrality avoidance may work for us as educators, but is it working for the student? So the author cites Assistant Professor of Teacher Education, Alyssa Hadley Dunn from Michigan State. And Dunn comes out and states that wedding yourself to neutrality is actually marginalizing students. She says that the marginalizing involves the latent fears, interests, and concerns of many students. So therefore, by not talking about these controversial issues, in essence, according to Dunn, is marginalizing the students. And just in case you're wondering, Dunn's favorite issues are racism, inequity, climate change, and gun violence. So basically, by not wanting to appear political or partisan, you may be impeding the growth of your students. And here's some of the questions that are posited that we may want to ask ourselves in regard to this. First of all, what do you say about Dunn's statement? Education is at its core is inherently political. How would you respond to an administration that ordered an edict that you abstain from such conversation because they are not part of the standards? If one's inclined to address an issue, is it important to take into account the pulse of the community at large? For instance, addressing the need for gun control in the Laurel Highlands. Another question, can engaging in controversial issues cross the line into disrespecting parents? Right? We know that's been a hot issue in the last year. Should pedagogical choices be limited about the aforementioned concerns of being labeled political or partisan? So, I mean, not to downplay these pressures, they ask, is it not our responsibility to prepare students to work toward a more democratic society? I kind of chose to look at that another way. I'm thinking you could look at it this way. Is it our responsibility to prepare students to work toward a more just society, right? And holding our governing authorities, right, to the social contract that they're obligated to meet us halfway with, right, in our Constitution. Looking to maybe at it from that angle. So there you have it. There you have it. That is that. If there's some other things not covered that come to mind after we sign off, please let me know. If you would like more resources, I'm always glad to help, and please do not ever hesitate to contact me. So have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.